Now we enter into a session on China in process, reflections from a recent journey. I won't spoil the fun by saying a lot about what they're going to do, but this group of scholars, activists, um, leaders are going to lead us in a reflective journey based on their own physical journeys into China during the last several months. And they're going to share with us issues and projects and concerns that they discovered in China and their own reflections from process perspectives. We have 4 speakers today, and thanks to Meijun Fan, she's put this together, and it's going to be an excellent program. Mei was a professor at, sorry, my slide slipped. Meijun was a professor at Beijing Normal University for more than 10 years. She's currently co-director of the China project at the Center for Process Studies and also program director of the Institute for Postmodern Development of China. She's written many books, and these include one entitled Beauty in Human Life, another entitled Contemporary Interpretations of Chinese Traditional Aesthetics, and a third one that she did with Zhihe Wang, The Second Enlightenment. Her focus in her own studies and her own leadership is on aesthetics in education, aesthetics in life. So she brings a focus on beauty and a focus on what might be possible. She's also author of about 100 academic articles, both in Chinese and English. And those of us who know her know that she's a powerhouse. She makes things happen. And Meijun, we're so glad you're with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And Meijun is married to Zhihe. Zhihe Wang is also a scholar whose life has transversed China and the U.S. Zhihe is a former member of the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences and is currently, and for some time, a leading figure in the constructive postmodern movement in China. His recent books include Process and Pluralism, with the subtitle Chinese Thought on the Harmony of Diversity. And I've already mentioned the book that he and Meijun did together, Second Enlightenment. In addition to multiple books, Zhihe has also written over 160 articles, and he's helped to establish more than 30 research institutes on process thought and constructive postmodern studies in China. There's no way to describe the energy that Zhihe has and the vision that both he and Mei bring to their work, always creating something new. And when they create something, they do it with others, and it becomes a movement. And that movement goes on and doesn't depend solely on Zhihe, but he is, I'll say he's like the battery that keeps things moving in very positive and exciting ways. As co-director of the Center for Process Studies China project, his major responsibility is to build relationships between China and the West through international conferences and lectures, translating process books, and organizing a Chinese visiting scholar program. All of these things, as you know, are very time-consuming and effective. They make a difference in this world. Our third speaker today will be Jay Jones. Jay has expertise in microbiology, botany, geology, and chemistry. So he is a scientist of broad interest and expertise. He's held appointments at Argonne National Laboratory, at the National Park Service, at Ripon College in Wisconsin, Arco oil and gas exploration research, and as a consultant with NASA. So his work has been as broadly engaging as is his intellect. For 35 years, he served as professor of biology and biochemistry at the University of Laverne. He's now emeritus. There, he taught a diverse array of courses, including one called Toward a Sustainable Planet. His passion is in ecological care and protection. In past years, Jay represented the University of Laverne on the National Council for Science and the Environment. This is now GCSE. And he presently devotes his time to ecological sustainability through presentations and workshops with the goal of fostering change. So he is a change agent par excellence. Our last speaker today will be Clifford Cobb. Cliff specializes in public policy. He's done his studies in public policy, and he has worked across a wide spectrum of issues and with various bodies in order to affect public policy. He's author of a book entitled Responsive Schools, another entitled Renewed Communities, with the subtitle A Communitarian Proposal for Systematic Education Reform. And he's co-author of The Green National Product, which in its subtitle explains what its focus is, an alternative measure of the national economy. Cliff has served on a series of research projects, teams analyzing social indicators, and studies of economics and taxes. In 2026, Cliff hopes to retire a second and final time. Good luck with that, Cliff. From editing the American Journal of Economics and Sociology. At that point, he hopes to devote more time to explaining how process thought can be applied to topics in social and economic theory that are currently in philosophical limbo. And I have to add that Cliff Cobb was my children's very favorite substitute teacher when he was living in Claremont many years ago. He was substituting in the high school, and all the kids in the school wanted him to be their sub when their teacher was away. We are so happy to have all of you, and I'm going to turn it over to May, who will lead us on. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And I'm so delightful to have this chance to share our experience in China with all of you. I'm glad to see all of our dear friends here, and Carol, from the Maine now, which it's very cold, right? And so glad, Cobb Institute to give us this opportunity to share, and also I'm so glad also to see our dear friends who with us, who made a great contribution to our trip a few months ago, Cliff and Jay, obviously Zhihe included. And so, okay, maybe.
And also Attila.
Oh yeah, Attila is here. So good. Oh my goodness, that's from Hungary, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this will be my reflection after a month-long journey, and I just try my best to offer the roughly whole picture, what we were doing there, whom we have met there, and how many places and the campus we have visited there with all of our team. So I just want to say my sharing, my talk, it's not a report. Yeah, I don't want to just simply give you a report, not a presentation explaining China. Yeah, which I don't want to do that. Also, it's not an argument, not an endorsement. Only it is an invitation to enter together a process of understanding that it's still unfolding. And so why this journey matter, and because this journey we made during a particular moment. That was our first extended visit to China after the passing of Dr. Cobb. So this journey definitely carried memory, responsibility, and continuity in every encounter. And also this journey, I then shared inquiry. Yeah, it's not simply a trip. It become a process of listening. So also this journey is made after a moment. So we are living in an after moment, after Dr. Cobb, after Easy Hope, after neutral ways of seeing the world. And our team over the past months in China, our team member include Cliff Cobb, Zhihe, me, Jay Jones, personally, Artina, personally, and Andrew Schwartz also personally join us due to their busy schedule. And so during that 1 month trip, so we visit 18 places. You can see it through this Google map from Beijing to Zhanjiang. That means from North China to South China. And also from Chongqing to Ningbo. So that means from West China to East China. So we travel about 8,000 miles. And the places we have visited include universities, classrooms, village, museums, and cultural site, enterprises, and policy spaces. And so all of us together, we probably, offer about 40 lecture and some dialogues, some exchanges. So this is just a parcel of our academic lecture took place in China, in Chongqing, in Shijiazhuang, in Pu'er, in Henan, in Jinhua, and Liangzhu, and so on. And so I have some point I want to make. The first, through our trip, so we are exploring different paths, tradition. We see Chinese tradition as a living wisdom. Like in the before, so Chinese people always say, looking forward for American dream. I think they look at U.S. as a lighthouse for the whole world. But in recent year, some the things eventually change, due to during our many conversations, we sense a growing interest in exploring paths of modern development that are not limited to Western models. And so one reason of this changes, it's a revival of a Chinese tradition. So now many Chinese people begin to see, Chinese tradition as a renewed engagement with a relational, generative way of thinking, offering resources for addressing contemporary challenge. Like, so this one, so Cliff Cobb did a lecture in the Liangzhu Museum. Liangzhu refers to a Neolithic civilization that flourished in North Yangtze River region over 5,000 years ago. So now Cliff there talking about AI. So one is the oldest, one of the oldest Chinese civilization. So today, the people, young people gather there to listen to what AI will make impact on human civilization. And the second photo you see, that is Andrew Schwartz in poor. So he was picking the tea leaf. Poor city, they call themselves, it's an origin place of tea in the world. So some of the old tea tree has more than 3,000 years. So they invite us to go to those areas to pick up tea, to make our own tea. I think Cliff, Jay, and Artina, Andrew were there. So another one, so you can see we visit a eco village. Okay, eco village. So established by this business woman. So she spent so much money trying to build the eco village. On one side, sounds success. On another side, financial side, maybe it's not successful. And I just want you to have this sense, the people we have met, So this one, it's our former EPA minister of China. So he received us, in Beijing on October 28th. So I think Cliff Cobb and him had a good conversation there. And also another photo. So the Xinhua Liu's agent headquarters receive our group. You see Atina was there, Cliff and Jay also there. So they have exchange, yeah, and what the China really want, and how we think of China. And so this one. And also in the Yunnan University, the management school receive us. So this guy, he is advisor for the Yunnan governor. So he, so I saw this photo, just want to people to have this sense. So we met different kind of people, higher official, and the think tank, and also the government. So through their talk, their sharing, so we understand better than we understand better what China really want to achieve. And also, so this photo show, we also visit a school, for fund cooperation. That is a big cooperation in China, one of a big one. So their cooperation has two schools established, two schools. One is for their employees only. Another one is for the next generation of rich people. How can those next young generation carry on their parents' business? So they guide us, to visit their school. You see a lot of Chinese culture there, instrument, calligraphy, and other thing, and the classical textbook. So that is how they want to their young generation to learn more and the deep Chinese culture. And so you see, so we also visit a village, Duan village in Henan province. So, and the guy next to Cliff, it's one of a representative figure in eco-critique, Professor Lu. So now this village invite him to live in the countryside, to bring Chinese culture back to the village. So this is a head of a village, and there are other village leaders. And you see Cliff Cobb, when we take a walk in the village, so we saw the people, the aged people, enjoy their life. And also the former EPA minister invite us to visit nationalities cultural palace in Beijing. So the whole idea, through many dynasts, it's talking about the harmony, how China survive, survive in the long history because of harmony, not by wars. And so So now, so we sense through our trip, we sense, so China, they really want to bring their culture, the core idea, it's a harmony back to our daily life. So that is how. So when we say ordinary Chinese people, we can feel they are now much enjoy their daily life. Like, many service, like Medicare and deliver service and others for many ordinary people. So affordable and accessible. I had experience. I got sick in Chongqing. I went to hospital. So, and I immediately, without any insurance, I immediately received every treatment and checking, like the blood test, CT, and the medicine. And so I cost me only like $165. And also I cannot have eat due to my illness. So I went to a small restaurant, only cost me 5 yuan to have Chinese carrots with some little dishes. So I heard one American economic expert say, for US, the issue is everything price it's keep up. But for China, the big issue it's everything it's so cheap. So, but however, so now ordinary Chinese people can enjoy those affordable service, Medicare, and food. So that gives them a sense, maybe Chinese dream, maybe it's better for them. And also the point two I want to make, it's ecological civilization in practice. So visit those ecological village and the eco enterprises revealed ecological civilization not as an abstract idea, but as a lived practice shaped by daily reality, economic pressures, and social responsibility. So in Xi'an, so they took us to a village, Yuanjia village. So you can see this village during in the past 30 years. So they become a model of a village for the whole China. So you see, this village has the 60 household and 286 people, and the whole village so has 709 Chinese acre. And but now, so they this village become the a good place for traveling, for food, for agricultural products. So they offer 3,000 jobs to the nearby village. And now, so every village, their annual income, it's 150,000 Chinese yuan. So So you can see this woman, and so she runs her own small shop for the visitor. So she feel happy with the income she got. The government, the Women Association help her to finance this shop so she can get bigger share from what she made. And also we visit another village, Duan village here. And so we also visit the another eco enterprise, organic fabric. So the lady here, she is the president of that company, organic fabric company. But the two lady just stay in her place to bring the Chinese tradition classic book to the company. So she offer this President Wu offer her employee, if you can cite it, like Confucius say or Tao Te Ching, and the company will offer them like at least 5,000 yuan as a award. And you see, so they offer us organic food. Everything comes from their land, their garden. And also this lady, she we didn't know her before, but when we visited Duan village, she just came, and she said she come from neighbor village, but now her village is kind of like produce 80% leather products in the whole world, 80%. So to the whole world. So she offer, she gave one of her products, leather thing to us as a gift. And also the third point I would like make, it's a process thought and the resonance. Okay. So everywhere we went, we always see Dr. Cobb, with us. Like this tree was planted by Dr. Cobb in 2018 on the campus of Pearl universities. So this time, so the head of university took us to visit this tree. You see, all of our team are here. And Dr. Cobb's workstation still running. So we had the chance to meet with the student there. So, and so we also visit Noyang Museum, which it's Henan, in Henan province. And also, you see, so they put Dr. Cobb's photo, everything there, to introduce to the visitors. And in Duan village, actually this is a barn of in Duan village. They put a letter by Dr. Cobb, 2 years ago, sent to them to congratulate them to establish a culture site in that village. And also we have like a conference on education, and this conference took place in the mountain area. So also one organizer, it's a workstation, Dr. Cobb's workstation. So you see everywhere we can see Dr. Cobb. And even in the Duan village, we were there, the head of a village introduced the village to us. They also copy what Dr. Cobb say, the video made 2 years ago by Dr. Cobb. And so when we do the constructive postmodern psychology conference in Shijiazhuang College, so the one of presenters PowerPoint also put Dr. Cobb there, you see. So, and you see, this is our process family in China. So one, we have a process dinner in Beijing. So you see, every year we have done this. I think Bob and Barbara and the other our friends joined this kind of dinner process, family dinner in Beijing some years ago. So, but this time, so we even have a process family dinner in Hangzhou. You see, many of them visit Kleinman or as a visiting scholar or as a participant of our eco forum, and so they gather in Hangzhou. So we had this family process a family dinner. So that is our people. So, and the last point, it's on ongoing exploration. So taking this together, my reflection do not point to fixed conclusions, but to an ongoing exploration of meaning, relationship, and possible futures. One that remains open, shared, and unfinished. You see, we see people. So through our eye, through our trip, we see China as a relationship, not our enemy. So we keep long-term friendship with our Chinese colleague, supporter, and friend. We also feel the living memory everywhere with us. And Dr. Cobb always as a living presence in our ongoing conversations. And we also see network of caring. So China was experienced not as an abstraction, but as a networking of a relationship. We also, through those places visiting, so we also see China as a living ground for academic spaces and for the community spaces and for the lived environment. So process ideal did not float above the ground. So we also see the continuity and the change. we show we have strong community in China. And we also see some living tenses, the pressures between care, creativity, and constraint, dynamic negotiations between tradition and transformation. And also, we also sing the emerging voice, especially the younger generation. So now they are coming out, become the leader in some middle of position. Like before, always the aged people receive us, treat us as a head of a school or university. But now, so the younger generation receive us, as a head of a school or management. So now their voice count more than before. So that is our journey continue through our shared reflection. People, place, memory, becoming. And so this journey taught me what remains are relationships, memory, and an understanding still unfolding. So now I just passed this journey to our colleague, Jay, Cliff, and Zhihe. Thank you so much.
Thank you, May. That was so fascinating. And now we'll turn to Zhihe. I see lots and lots of waves in the hand, so we're going to save all the discussion till the end. I'll let people know that in advance.
Okay.
But you're getting lots of love on the screen, May.
Okay.
Thank you. I feel that. Thank you, dear friend.
I'm so happy to see so many old friend, new friend there. Yeah. And Bob Mesley, Kevin Clark, Carol, and Attila, and so May, I think May just gave a wonderful presentation, gave people the whole picture. So don't have too much to see, just a couple observations from my side. Yeah. First, as May mentioned, you can feel through this trip. You can feel the people's affection for the feeling, deep feeling for Dr. Cobb. Still there, yeah. So there's a Chinese saying, when the people walk away, the tea become cold. That means, when people pass away, nobody remember him. But Dr. Cobb, the tea is still hot, yeah. So people still remember him. So that is I think that's the one reason why this whole trip was so well received, well welcomed everywhere. Yeah. Because when people hear, oh, this is Dr. Cobb's him, this is Dr. Cobb's son, Cliff. So people it kind of look like a relative from far away. Yeah. People feel very dear. Yeah. This is the one thing. Another thing that you can see many years ago, I remember maybe 10 years ago, Dr. Cobb predict the hope of ecological situation lies in China. Yeah. Maybe people laugh at him, probably. I think right now, day by day, more and more people, Chinese and non-Chinese, realize the value, the truth of Dr. Cobb's prediction. Yeah. Besides the electronic car, the wind energy, China already on the top, right? Another way, the people, I mean the ecological weakeningness, happen every day in daily life in the grassroots movement. May just show the PowerPoint. We visited several organic farm and also the eco village. You can see there is a called royal revitalization, right? Royal revitalization movement. So we are very happy our process community become a part of this movement. As you know, the city almost no hope without the countryside, yeah, without nature. So I think the pandemic shows this is the truth, yeah. Without the countryside provide the food, city like Shanghai, Beijing cannot survive even 1 week, yeah. So you can see why Dr. Cobb is so wonderful, have that kind of prediction, yeah. And another thing is, I think a process community always play another we call the war builder. We are a bridge builder. We build a bridge between the country and the countries, between the academic and the non-academic, between the grassroots and academic. Yeah. So we even, have a lot of friend in organic farmer friend, right? Yeah, in eco village. Yeah. So so we think we really we are the a bridge builder. Yeah. I think Chinese tradition is a kind of tradition to really care about the feeling. Whitehead used to mention the universe is not a collection of material. It's an ocean of feeling, right? Yeah. So I remember one we took a Cliff Cup to see Minister Pan, the former minister of Chinese EPA. He said, "I call your father Dr. Cobb my uncle. No, you are my brother. You can come to me if you have any question. Yeah, we can have a deeper conversation." So when people trust you, when people make friends with you, people they easily to listen to you, right? Yeah. So I think right now today the world there are a lot of war builder. When the world need a bridge builder, I think our process group, process people play this role. We identify ourselves civil ecological ambassador. Civil ecological ambassador. Yeah. So if my last word is that if you are tired of staying home, if you are tired of watching those domestic political drama, please come to us. We take you to China. You can see the eco village. You can see the organic, talk with the organic farmer. I think make life become more meaningful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for offering this large perspective. It's extremely helpful. Thank you so very much. And now we turn to Jay. Jay, we look forward to what you have to share.
As an outsider, as I've mentioned to many of you, I have ADD, and I'm very broad in the sciences, but I stick my nose into many other places as well, into religion through ecology and religion, into anthropology, into history, and so forth. So I am a fish out of waters, but my dad gave me a great bit of advice. He said, surround yourself by people that know more than you do. And all of you know much more than I do. And so I have been able to learn a little bit about process theology and so forth, and its application in the world today, which it's so vitally needed. My experience with this trip was, as always, phenomenal. It's a two-way story. I take my experience and try to help people understand the situation that we're in globally. But then I'm always looking at the environment. In fact, that's the reason I have not published many books and many papers like my colleagues. I'm always looking at what's around me in the world, studying the most fundamental book that exists, and that's the universe around us, and trying to understand it. So when I go to China and so forth, I'm not speaking as an academic. I'm not trying to show the depth of my knowledge in any given area. I have a few areas like that. But my goal is to try to help people wake up to the situation that we're in. So if I may, I'd like to share just a few of the slides that I have prepared for some of the presentations. And let's see, this would be the one. This is not the one that I wanted to show, but we had one meeting that was on preserving the precious sites such as Jingmai Mountain, and I talked about the forces of economics and so forth.
Jay,
yeah.
we're seeing the large selection of slides. Did you intend to bring one up and highlight one of them, or?
Oh, I am actually.
I
see. I got the right one here. So this is a presentation.
I'm just saying we're just seeing all of your slides. The group of slides, not any one in particular.
Oh no, I understand. I'm giving it up with you now. I customize for every audience. So this is one that I gave it on and it's the one I selected because I don't have a lot of time. In all of my presentations, I give an assessment of the world population. We're almost 8.2 billion people on the Earth. We have changed the Earth so profoundly that that people need to wake up as to exactly how much we have changed the Earth. And I give some figures and so forth that help to make this real. For instance, the grasslands and so forth have essentially been committed to agriculture. We have very little of the natural vegetation, et cetera, left. What I got to see when I was a child is almost completely gone. Fence rows are gone and so forth. And this is what the tall grass prairie has become. That little arrow there is a refuge that has been set aside for the natural species and so forth. But look at how much we have changed that. Former prairie near Dodge City. It's pretty much all for growing our animals and so forth that we eat. And let me jump real quickly. Of course, you all know about the Amazon and that sort of thing. I won't talk about that. In Borneo, one of the things that I saw that I like to point out is that we have token areas of preservation, but it is not real. When we look at the economic forces that exist, we find that development is squeezing out wildlife and so forth. I'm just going to give you a couple more, and then I will return to other topics. Agricultural development has had the greatest impact on wildlife, and if we look just at mammals, we constitute 1/3 of the biomass of mammals. That is an amazing figure to me. And what's even more amazing is that the farmed animals that we have constitute 60% of that mammalian biomass, leaving only 4% for the lions, the wildebeest, the kangaroos, the polar bears, the whales, etc. 4%. I bring these things out because it's so important for people to understand how much of an impact we've had, because we live in a cocoon. We don't see things daily, and we're so divorced from the environment that we have no clue as to how much we have changed the earth. Okay, I want to switch thoughts now a little bit to talk about another line of evidence. So I talked about the ecology and our impact, but I also, along another vein, talk about ethics. And one of the ethics that is near and dear to me is how we treat the animals that we consume. So this is kind of a typical hog farm. These hogs live in this environment their lives. This blew me away when I first saw it. It's a massive hog farm complex. Each one of these buildings that you see here, these 6-story buildings, are built for containing hogs.
Jay, I hate to interrupt again. We're not seeing what you're seeing. The hog farm that you have on your screen that you're showing, we're not seeing that.
You're not seeing it at all.
No, we're seeing the group of slides that are on your in your other window that it would be up here.
Goodness. Thank you for interrupting. All right. Anyway, this is how hogs are being raised today. They're not found out in the field as they were when I was young. They live their entire life in these types of environments. This one blew me away. Every time I do a search to try to update things, I'm further blown away. This is also a hog farm. And you can see a reactor over here in this area that probably is producing gas from the refuse that these animals produced. You can see up here, it has its own granary and so forth. Top world producing hog farms. There you go, right there in China. Another ethical situation is the production of poultry, which I think people are familiar with. But what I try to do is to bring about the ethics of this and to try to help people understand that if they are eating meat, they are, as Jonathan Safran-Foer would say, they're voting for this process. They're voting for these things to exist. And anybody who has raised chickens or other animals that we consume know that they have personalities and so forth. And so there are real ethical issues about what we're doing there. Another thing I like to point out is that, some of our pets that we dearly love, like cats, are one of the big elements that's killing many of our wild birds. And I witnessed this tragically in Oaxaca, Mexico, and also in Quito, Ecuador, where a cat in Quito, Ecuador, at a hostel brought down 2 birds in half an hour. Just killed the birds and laid them on the ground and moved on to get another. I could go on and on, which I do, but I won't do that, except to say that humans also conflict and so forth is increased as population increases and resources decrease. This is from Gaza. And we have mass numbers of people that are migrating and so forth. And so the big issues here in the United States, where we're talking about homeland security and so forth, are bound to intensify. I'll stop right there and just kind of sum up by saying my goal in this has essentially been to help people realize how serious the situation is. Let me say just a word about what I learned again on this trip, and that is that the same materialist consuming culture that we have in the United States has as Meijun has pointed out, by idealizing the American way of life is kind of spread to China as well. And so our separation from that mentality is absolutely essential. Meeting all of the different people that I had the opportunity to meet with as a result of Meijun and Zhihe's kindness has helped me to bring the Chinese story to Americans in my presentations. The technological renovation or the realization that they have with regard to electric vehicles, the wonderful rail transport system. One of my observations was that they're still lagging in terms of freight rail and such, but I was able to observe a lot of different things, and I know time is limited, so I will stop there. Thank you so much. And if anybody wants to know more, contact me directly, and it's hard to shut me up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jay. That was very interesting and important. If you are serious about wanting people to contact you, just put your email address in the chat, and I'm sure some people will do that.
Will do. Oh, I did want to say one more thing. One of the most enriching things that I had was conversation with Attila. Attila Grampier. Oh my goodness, we had talks on the universe as a living entity, and the difference between the biological community's perceptions and these more theological Gaia type perspectives. It is all a matter of semantics. It's all a matter of semantics. We all agree on the nature of the universe and the dynamicity and so forth. But biologists have very strict definition for living things, and reproduction is part of that. And reproduction in particular is one of those elements that doesn't fit into the biological picture. But I'm so glad to see Attila here. I hope he has an opportunity to chime in as well. Thank you so much.
Very good. Thanks, Jay. And now we turn to Cliff Cobb. Cliff?
For one moment, I'm going to give you a picture of what I actually look like, and then I'm going to mute my video, so it's not so bad. The first thing I want to say is I was blown away by the work that Zhihe and Mei do in China. I've been with Zhihe in China before and had some sense of it, but this trip really reinforced the amazing capacity to work with a wide variety of people in different areas, different regions of the country, different professions, and so on, and to make things happen. It's just, I was thinking if it were the reverse, where we were importing a group of Chinese here trying to help us figure out what to do, if I had to lead them around Washington and New York to or all over the country to meet professors all over the place, I wouldn't even know where to begin. And Zhihe just does this masterfully, meets new people, develops new relationships, and extends the reach of IPDC into every part of China. It's just watching it is amazing. Part of what I also realized the impossibility of doing it from the outside is there are two physical elements of culture in China that I would never be able to master. One of them is tea, and one of them is alcohol. So tea culture is extremely important, and it's sort of like you have to, if you want to talk to an American, you have to know everything about baseball and be able to talk about baseball. Well, in China, tea is the equivalent of that. So you have to be able to talk about all different kinds of tea and their different tastes and when you use them and what season. And anyway, it's an amazingly elaborate conversation that is just as alien to me as the Chinese language. So we did all kinds, we drank tea at various places with various people, and I just sat in silence and listened because I had nothing to contribute to that, but it was amazing to watch. And the other thing is at dinner, drinking um, a fermented rice wine, I guess it is. Anyway, it's much stronger than spirits are here. It's about 50% alcohol. And it's really an important part of dinner culture to be able to drink and be convivial in this way and toast each other and all that. It's an art form that I will never do well at. And so I'm just saying this cross-cultural stuff is really important, but it requires skill to do it. And that's why Zhihe and Mei are really, truly important as leaders of this movement. Another thought that occurred to me upon returning was something that didn't happen. Every conference I've been to for the last 15 years has been, all the Chinese have talked about Xi Jinping thought. Xi Jinping thought is the center of everything they have to say. They stick to it strictly. I didn't hear a word of that during all these travels. I mean, it's sort of hard to be stunned by something that doesn't happen. And it was only afterwards I realized nobody talked that way. I don't know if that's a shift in people are just less afraid of speaking their own minds now than they were as recently as a few years ago, but it was refreshing to hear lots of people in China talking about their own thoughts. Now, it may be that that's because we weren't at conferences, formal academic conferences, maybe all of that Xi Jinping thought is the mainstay of the conversation still. I'm not saying that's not true, but it was refreshing, at least for me, to get away from that and hear real Chinese thoughts from the heart from a lot of people. The other thing that struck me in retrospect was the few conversations I had with younger people between the ages of 20 and 30. One was a driver who drove me from the airport into town in southern China when I was alone briefly at the end of my trip. Zhihe and Mei had gone up to Beijing at that point. But this driver spoke perfect English. But he told me the main concern that he and his friends had was what's going to happen with Taiwan. They're really afraid of war. I did not realize that was widely felt among youth, but he talked as if this was a constant conversation they're having. I said I didn't think it was very likely from my perspective, but then again, he had different sorts of information than I had. So it was disturbing to realize that this was central to the conversation taking place among young people. I also get the sense from young people in China, there's a lot of a sense of the future is bleak and confusing. And I think that's true everywhere in the world. I don't think that's true just of China. I think that's true in the United States as well. The future is being cut off to young people. And both from economic perspective and ecological perspective, both of those are saying there's not going to be much of a future. And it's heartbreaking to have conversations and hear some of that live in China as well, just by not knowing how to plan for the future if there's not going to be much of one. Sarah Payne who teaches or taught at the War College has made about 50 videos on YouTube, and I saw her I saw the first few minutes of a video she did on the future of China, and that the biggest danger she said waiting in the future of China is internal conflict. And a lot of that internal conflict, I think, comes from the difficulty of maintaining the grip or loyalty or commitment by young people to the existing regime, to the Communist Party and what it represents, and basically to the existing social order. And I think that she's right. Interestingly, that video's been pulled from the internet. I don't know what happened to it. It was only on the internet for about a week. So I don't know what forces brought that about, that video was pulled. But I am reminded that in the Soviet Union, what really ultimately brought down the regime was the blue jean revolution, where young people were wanting to live, adopt Western things, and the elders in the party knew they couldn't provide it, and so they gave up finally and said, "We can't do it. We're giving up." I'm really worried in China that the old folks who are running the country are having difficulty maintaining lines of communication with younger people, and that the same kind of divorce or separation or split between young and old could be taking place there, that's going to make it difficult to govern China in the same way the Soviet Union found it was impossible. I'm not saying there's any immediate danger of a revolution from the youth in China. I don't sense there's not anger so much as despair. But anyway, those were just thoughts that struck me from traveling around, not from any specific things we did. May did a wonderful job of explaining all the diversity of things we did. And if you understood what she was talking about, then you're confused, because it was so damn confusing to me when I was there to keep up with where we were the next day and who we were talking to. And I was basically just sort of one step behind all the way, but appreciating the diversity of interactions we were having while I was there. So those are my thoughts, and we can get on to conversation.
This is very helpful. What a great way to close the presentations, with those kinds of impressions and conversations. Thank you very much, Cliff. And thanks especially to this team, and thanks to all of you for your reflections and your presence.